Hey everyone, welcome to the Math 6 9.2 video. Today we are talking about mean. Now, what do I mean by mean? Well, this is mean, but it's not quite the type of mean I'm talking about. Okay, well, this is be pretty mean to take a kid to Santa Claus' grave. Not exactly the kind of mean we're talking about, though. So when I mean, you could also say average. Okay, so the mean or average is something we use in statistics all the time. Okay, and it is simply the sum of the data, and then you take that divided by the number of data values. Okay, so you take a poll of your fellow students. Hey, how many pets do you have? Well, I have 2. I have 7. I have 1. I have none. You add all those numbers up and divide that by the number of people that took your survey. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, so the following table here shows the number of times that a few 6th graders said like in 1 minute. What is the mean of that data set? Like what's the mean? Like what do you think? Like, okay. So Adam said it 3 times, Mandy 6, Lauren 2. You can read the rest. Okay. So let's keep in mind the mean of the average is just the sum of the data. Sum meaning what? We add, right? Okay. Divided by the number of data values. So let's take a second and add all these up. Okay, so I'm getting 9, 10, let's see, 17, and 20. So those two give me a 30. 17 and 9 is 27 minus 1, so 26. Add those up, I'm getting 56. Okay, so 56. So again, the mean equals the sum of the data. So we just added those up and got 56. And now we're going to divide by the number of data values. So let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what is the mean equal to here? 56 divided by 8 is 7. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means the average number of times these 8 kids said like in 1 minute. It it means like 7. You know what I mean? Like, okay, great. So the next thing we need to talk about, though, is called outlier. So what's an outlier? Simply put, okay, an outlier is just a piece of data that lies outside most other values in the data set. So here's a graph, okay, that displays people who reported both the number of pets they have and the amount of money they spent on pet food each week. Okay, so what we can see is that generally, as the number of pets you own increases, you spend more money on pet food, right? Except for that person. Let's talk about that person real quick. What can we conclude about them? Well, we can, hypothesize a number of things. One could be that maybe when they were taking this survey, they read it wrong, okay, and they reported they had 13 pets, but maybe instead of hitting, 10 or $100, or instead of writing $100 for how much they spent on pet food, they forgot a 0 and only wrote about 10 or so. Okay, maybe. One could be that they're lying for whatever reason, right? They said, I'm just going to write something really ridiculous. And if you think about it, this person's saying they own 13 pets, but they only spend about 15 maybe dollars, 10 or $15, on pet food a week. So that really doesn't make a lot of sense when, people who own 6 pets, and yeah, I know there's like, half pets and quarter pets in here. I get it. It's okay. No, this was just something I pulled off the internet super fast. But anyway, someone who owns 6 pets spends about $30. Someone who owns 4 spends about $20. Okay, so we're seeing kind of a generally steady increase. The other thing could be that this is a really terrible person who starves their pets. They own 13 pets and they only spend a little bit of money on each. So they're starving their dogs or something terrible like that. Or maybe they have a bunch of outside pets and they're really, really cheap to feed. Maybe they have a bunch of chickens, right? So they don't have to spend a lot of money on feeding chickens. All these other people own like house pets, like dogs and cats, where they can't really feed themselves. You need to go out and buy the food. So again, any number of possibilities here. But this person is the outlier because the data that they gave us is so very different, obviously different from everybody else. Alright, so what you're going to do here is you're going to pause the video and you're going to try this one. You're going to calculate the mean with and then without the outlier. And so you have to figure out which one of these is the outlier. Okay, And so different flight costs from Miami to Puerto Rico. So calculate it with, calculate the mean then without, and let's talk about that. All right, so you've done all those calculations on your own, so let's go over that. So different flights from Miami to Puerto Rico with the outlier. This is what I got. So with the outlier, which hopefully you identified as 900 as being the one piece of data that is way different than all the others, okay? You add up all these, you divide by 6. What I did when I added them all is I got 3,336, so check your math. Divided by 6, I got $556, okay? So, let's actually graph that on a dot plot real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to graph all the data and the mean. Okay, so 456, that's the first one I see. We're going to go right about there. 512, be kind of right there. 516, right there. 900, okay, way over there. Okay, back to 436, that's kind of down there. And then another 516, so we had one right there. All right, now where was our mean though? Our mean was 556. Again, this is with the outlier of 900. So I'm going to graph him in red here. So 556 is going to put us right about there. All right, so what do we notice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 pieces of data to the left of the mean, and there's 1 to the right. And this 1 to the right is way out here, and he was our outlier, right? He was the outlier. So the mean, again, the mean means the average, right? So it may not be exactly in the middle, but the mean needs to be maybe somewhere close to the middle of all our data points. And what we can see is, except for the outlier, the mean isn't in the middle of all these other guys. He should be kind of right there. So while in a sense it is the mean, that is technically the mean, it's with the outlier. And the mean is greater than all these others. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So let's go over here and look at the mean without the outlier. So let's calculate it without. So what I did is I added 456, 512, 512, 516, 436, and then the other 516. Did not include the $900 this time. When I added those, I got 2,436. Divided that by 5 because we're not including the outlier, so it's not 6. We only have 5 pieces of data. And I got $487.20. So again, let's graph these things. 456, 512, somewhere there, 516, 436, again back kind of there, and then another 516. Now let's graph our mean. $487.20. So 500's there, 450's there, so he's going to be kind of right there. That's the mean. That seems to make a lot more sense, right? The mean, again, the average. What's the average? You know, what's the kind of in the middle? That makes a lot more sense. So what we can see is that without the outlier, we get a piece of data as our mean that is really more centralized in comparison to all of our data. Okay, again, both of these, we need to know how to calculate with and without the mean, but we need to understand what happens when you have a outlier and how that affects your data. Look, with was $556. Without the outlier, you go all the way down to $487.20. That's a very big difference, and it means something. All right, everyone, thanks for sticking with it. Look forward to seeing you in class, talking a lot more about mean.